Yeah, please.
So that'll create a pink color on the inner part of the ear.
And I'm going to torch them all and texture them all, so it's just to get the color.
Hello,
there.
welcome to our online viewers. My name's Tim Rawlinson, and here at London Glassblowing we're very happy to present demonstration by John Moran, winner of season 3's Blown Away on Netflix. Making a teddy bear from a series of work that started on the show. One of the sort of final pieces was about these sort of abandoned stuffed animals. So we've got different components of the bear in kilns keeping warm, and John is just working on the head, so you can see the eyes and the ears are in place, and he started to work some texture into the glass.
Right behind you, Katie, just so you know.
If anyone online has any questions, please feel free to leave a comment and we'll do our best to answer them. What component are you making now, Katie?
I think the mouth.
Think the mouth.
Yeah, the snout. Sorry, Katie. Yeah. You ready? Yeah, I can do that. Let me just take a longer flash. Thank you, sir.
Will you sort of sketch out pieces, or do you have mainly an idea in your head and then you sort of want to work it out in the process itself?
A lot of times I'll have it in my head. I might sketch out a little bit, but usually I have an idea, something I'm kind of mimicking already, and then I'm working on it here. I only sketch if I have to show a drawing, really.
Peter often uses the phrase sketching on the iron.
Yeah, definitely.
And with such a technical process and so many different ways of working the glass, it can be just the actual process itself that then leads the design. Is that fair to say?
No, I definitely start, some things will affect other things, but overall I start with an idea. But I know that if I sketch it anyway, it's not going to be perfect, so it's linked to the making, but it's not. I wouldn't say I don't work that I make something and then I'm inspired by that making process, at least on that piece. Some things happen fluidly, but I try to have some control going into it. But I'm more reacting to what's happening, but at the same time trying to steer in a certain direction.
I can see another glassmaker we have with us, boy wonder Elliot Walker. He's winner of season 2, Blown Away. We've got a pair of Elliot's sculpted figures in the gallery, very tall pieces with bits of dichro color running through the middle.
Can you hop in there real quick? Right. A little bit like a color drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
You can see how innately valuable the hot torch is to working this way. You know, you really are just heating up very specific pieces of the glass to then distort it. We were talking earlier about when the torch came into sort of general glassmaking. John was saying about early 2000 was when that happened. So it's a relatively new part of glassmaking. And hot sculpting itself, in this way of sculpting the glass, is still relatively new in terms of it being used in the art form.
No. I think when we go for assembly, maybe it's just at the hand.
The real bonus of something like that is if he had to try and get the whole thing hot to distort or manipulate it, you would just start melting the texture away. You would lose that elements of detail that he's putting into it. However, because he's not getting the whole thing very hot, just warm enough that it doesn't crack, he keeps all these lovely bits of texture and different sculpting detail that he's put into the work. Does anyone have any questions at all? How long did it take to film the Netflix series? How long were you away filming for, John?
8 weeks. No, that should be perfect.
That's a very intensive block of time.
Even this out. Yeah, it was a intense few months. Well, you don't know how long you're going to be there when you go, though. So you're.
Yeah, how many pairs of clothes do you pack?
Well, you weren't allowed to wear anything with brands on it, so that kind of knocked out all of my clothing. But like, luckily, I had like a lot of unprinted T-shirts that.
Were you not allowed to wear your
nothing
prints?
with the brand. So I had like a ton of plain shirts that I brought with me because they were like the ones I would usually print on. So I was like,
How dare you self-promote yourself on a reality TV show?
Exactly. Good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Bringing back memories. I'm ready if you are, Katie. It doesn't have to be crazy, just cuttable.
Is this the mouth of the bed?
Yeah, that's perfect. Straight up.
It's a really brave way of working with glass, because you could have something that you really like, and you can see all these different elements you're adding to it. You've got to be really quite courageous to not fear mistakes.
Maybe.
And
I'm good for a few minutes.
I really like the freedom with the way which John works. And I think that's what gives the pieces sort of their individuality and their sense of character.
Later, but I'm gonna first texture this up and let her get I gotta sculpt into it a little bit.
Yeah, cool.
Do we get a button nose on the snout?
We will, yes. First I have to get the nose all shaped up in the mouth, and then I will put that on there.
Does that really throw it off center, that weight of the...
No, not so much. It's just I want to get it to look right before I put all the texture into it. So I'm trying to use that core heat before it goes, but right now it's okay. Bigger, yes. This I'm used to it.
So you can see the metal there sticks to the glass when it gets that hot. So you've got to be careful to work it just a long enough time. Then he chills it in a bucket of water so that it doesn't stick to the piece. Did you say earlier you had an idea for what sort of expression you were wanting the bear to have? It was
Yeah, so he should be kind of looking up with his mouth open, like a little bit like saintly, like in the martyred saints, where they're like...
in a sense of wonder or in desperation?
Yeah, desperation, I think, more than wonder. I would say most often it's a sense of desperation. They're usually the martyred saints, so I guess it's really a sense of desperation. Yeah, I'm thinking. No, I have water. I'm just not drinking it. If it can, yeah. If it can't, then it can lay on.
That's fine.
If it if it rolls over, then I can do it on the back of the head. It'll be fine too. Okay.
Each different studio in different country will work with a different clear glass. So here we melt a Swedish glass called Glassblowing, which has got a really great optical qualities. So in work like mine, which is sort of cut and polished, I've got a very high optical quality. And with Peter's work of using lots of different colors, it won't disturb the color, and it also has a high compatibility with those colors. But so like John will use a different glass in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
So can you feel quite a difference between the qualities of the material?
This glass specifically stays hot longer on the core rather than on the surface, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm watching that and being aware of it. So like my glass...
Is that useful? Does that give you a longer working time, or is that more tricksy because it might move when you don't want it to?
A little bit tricky just because I'm not used to it. So I'm just making sure I don't overflash, but I don't underflash. I think I'm underflashing at the moment, so...
The unique thing with glass, you think of it as one material, but the fact that you can have different bases of the glass, so you could have like a lead glass, for instance, means they've got very different properties when they're hot. So doing the sort of work that John does of sculpting the glass, you really need to have a familiarity with the material of what how it's going to behave at certain temperatures. Do you want a door?
Coming out real quick.
Have a door.
All right, well, I'm gonna
Because
come
he wants it
outside
cooler
fence.
anyway.
Face
Do you want
up.
it cooler, John? Or is that temperature alright?
It can be cooler.
Louis, you're able to turn it down a bit.
Can you
I
keep
saw
that
the
face up and then
ratio
flash?
right down.
Yeah. And that should be good, Katie. You can flip it now, I think. Hope. If not, then we'll have to do it again, but maybe not yet.
You just put a sort of handful of glass powder into the mouth.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I have this specialized tool for it that I found it in Canada, actually. It's a bricklaying tool, I think.
So there's very specific glass making tools that have gone back hundreds of years and still used. But then, especially when you're working this way,
fall forward a little bit.
especially with certain color pattern making, you might find a very specific tool to yourself. I I sort of been doing feathering of color,
Should be good.
and I bought this hook
Do you want to grab
in
the
an antique
ball of black
show,
in there?
an antique fair. It's a 4-pound old metal
so?
working
There's
hook,
one that's
but
like a blob,
it's
and
perfect
that's
for
not
what I want
want,
it
but
for.
take a look if you
So you'll
don't see
find
it.
glass makers
Pretty sure it's just
will
one.
find very specific tools that are meant for something else, but it will mean they're able to do different manipulations of the color, and they become then invaluable to you.
Shit.
Do you have a question?
Let me check. I think it's
So
the
the
one
pieces
that's
of glass
more
fall
towards
off the
front,
iron.
one back is the
It
red.
happens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the smaller one. Yeah.
if it got too cold, it would crack and fall
Probably
off.
You can just pick it up because it's going to be the nose, so I just need to be a
The-
little bit hot. That'll.
There are points
melt
where
down a
the
little bit.
glass will be attached to the iron or the rod with a far more fragile join. If you then knocked the iron, the vibration would knock the piece off and it would break, which has happened. If you're able to get another gather of glass and an iron, pick it up and introduce the heat and clean it up, you can, but very often you'll lose the piece if that happens. Particularly when you're learning and being a student, that thing will happen quite a lot. And it's just through experience that you're able to know how to handle the glass. Button nose?
The button nose. I'll take a quick, I'll take a flash in a second. Take a quick flash now. It'll probably be pretty good pretty quickly. I'm pretty much just cutting that off on this and shaping it, so.
There always seems to be quite a strong narrative in your work. Is that something that's always been a basis of your sculpture?
Yeah, I think all of my work, even before I found glass, was like very narrative based. It's the type of work that I'm drawn to, like artistically as well, like stuff I like. So it's what I make as well. You're ready, Katie? Straight up. Yep. Whoop.
I guess more often than not, that narrative can become political.
Yeah, that's just because it's also something I'm interested in. A lot of times I like make stuff, I'm thinking about something, maybe not realizing it right away, but then as I spend time with it, I realize that like I'm thinking about this specific thing, or it correlates to a lot of times, like without necessarily starting from that point, but it ends up there. But I think it's like a lot of things, I do a lot of things just because, and then later I reflect on them and realize that there was an impact. There's things that I made for a specific purpose, and then as time's gone on and they've still kind of remained relevant, I've thought about them more and more and more and put them in perspective with the time that I live in, but also my perspective now and how that still holds relevant. So the narratives are a base, but they're not always the end point too. They're kind of like something that's going on in my head while I'm making.
And I guess with maybe the political landscape getting a bit more turbulent, certainly divided, is that then having a greater impact on the work that you're making?
Yeah, and especially like my own personal situation in it, like being an expat living in another country, looking at America through a lens that isn't the lens I used to look through like while I lived there. Then also looking at Europe through a lens as I am a foreigner living in a place. So seeing all these similarities between different places, but at the same time the differences. And all of that is part of the kind of political landscape that we live in, not only politics, but like societal parts of politics.
I think you deal with quite challenging concepts in your work.
Yeah,
Again, that's part, I think, of the bravery of some of the work that you're doing.
thank you. I try not to think about it that way, like it's just kind of what's happening in the world, so I'm thinking about it, commenting on it, think this guy is done. So we're gonna pop it off with the gloves and put him in there.
So the head of the bear is now nearly finished.
Yeah.
So we'll put that into a kiln to keep it warm, whilst John then starts to make the torso.
Okay, grab it. Whew. It's warm. All right.
So that's part one of the assembly. So we now have the head of a bear in one kiln. We've got 2 arms in another kiln. John's going to start to make the torso of the bear, of which he'll add legs to, fresh. Then he'll be adding the previously made arms and head. And then a few final extra details.
Maybe, if we need it. Would be helpful, maybe. A little nudge. If he wants to.
Do you want Boy Wonder?
Yeah, definitely wants to help for this. In a minute.
Come on, Mr. Walker.
Not really.
Stop
Don't
gib-gabbing.
need it, but optically it'll probably. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we need a couple bits, but nothing crazy. We don't need help right at this moment. Yeah, just can you just stand in front of the glory hole and block the heat? Yeah. We don't need crazy amounts of help. Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
It was like, yeah, eventually I think. It'll be straightforward. It's a shame, isn't it?
So 2 blown away winners. God.
Now you can answer questions.
Been asking how many glass makers it takes to make a teddy bear. So.
Wow, yeah, I mean,
It's growing.
let's get another one in.
Yeah.
Are we printing these out?
No, those I'll just grab with the grabbers and the gloves. So basically I'm gonna make a bubble, put a couple bits on it for legs, and I'll have to texture everything. Punty that up, texture the rest of it up, grab the arms out of there, stick them on, stick the head on, put a heart in the hand. Just it's really easy.
The legs are just bits.
Yeah, and I was gonna pre-make them, but I think it's easier with bits. No,
So it's like,
Come on.
white.
yeah, it's like I guess they'll probably like one big or two quick gathers. There'll be 3 times in the white,
Do you have a
3 times in
question?
the pink. Strip everything off, and then 3 times in the brown, but like really heats in between. So really, like no, that's fine. Like take a gather, pull it off on the marver. Yeah, but like with the marver strip. Yeah.
There's a question about the work that you made in the show. Sort of what happens to that? Is that then owned by Netflix? I know what your final piece went to the Corning Museum.
Yes. So there's one piece in Corning. I don't know what happened to it all. It's probably in boxes somewhere. And yeah.
Oh, it's in a Indiana Jones storage unit.
Yeah. I know they've had some, like one piece had water in it, and it wasn't on display when I was there at Corning because it was leaking, so they were filling the water again. Yeah.
So Corning Museum of Glass, where the residency happened, has got I think each
A little bit.
piece that
Yeah.
won an episode.
I'm like sweaty now.
John, is that right?
What's that?
Is it a piece that wins an episode is on display, or is it just the final?
No, it's just a piece of like I have the final piece on the show, then they have a piece from everybody.
Okay.
So
But it's not the.
No. No.
So it doesn't illustrate the series. It's not each piece that
No,
one.
each person has a piece. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no. No, otherwise it would be all my work for the season.
Well, hey.
It's funny, but it's kind of true.
Oh, that's a good question. So how many episodes did you win, John?
I think 6.
And Elliot? Not that it's a competition. Oh yeah, it's literally a competition.
There are definitely ones I don't think I should have won. Yeah.
Hi.
If you want to know all about it, go on Reddit and ask. Think behind you. There's a big.
So again, they're just cooling off the
it's
iron,
easy.
so that it's
This is
able
like
to hold it up closer to the glass
widow.
itself, giving you better control. John, we have a question about the timing of the episodes for each project. Was it generous, or like how long did you get for each?
I mean, you don't get it in the same moment, but like you get it the night before. At the end of the day, so you can sleeplessly lay in bed trying to think about what you're going to do the next day.
And then the actual making time?
That was correct. So if we had 4 hours, we had 4 hours. It wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't the same for each project.
No, each one. No, but like the talking and all that stuff, that was done in the morning separately when we get introduced. But then the glassblowing time was real. So you'd wait around all day to blow glass, eat a really heavy catered lunch. Yeah. We were there with Thanksgiving, so we had like maybe it wasn't Thanksgiving. It was a day of celebration in Canada, but we had like turkey and potatoes and just really heavy lunch. And everybody, didn't eat it because I was like, this is gonna kill me. And I was fresh, and everybody else was kind of exhausted from the lunch.
So was time management difficult then for each? Did you feel sort of strained under pressure, or?
Yeah, I finished early a few times because I'm typically slow with working, but since you don't know, like there's no clock, you have to ask. I would like rush through things, or like I had this like plan of working, and then I would finish like 20 minutes early or half an hour early sometimes. So I guess it wasn't.
I guess they want to give you the sense of pressure. They don't want you to make
Yeah. You don't want to know, like you don't know, and also it's when you had to make multiples of things, that was the most stress with time. Because you'd make the first one, you're like, there's no way I'm going to finish it because this took me this long, and then you realize you get faster, but then you make mistakes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 3.
We've got another
strip,
lovely glassmaker
3
with
brown,
us, Laura Quinn,
Just so I have
over
the
here.
same
She's also a technician at Farnham College. So we show a lot of
yeah.
Laura's
Two of
work.
them. I mean, I guess you could make
which
one bigger bit, and I
combines
can take both legs from
different mixed media. Gives it again another nice textural quality to the work.
maybe I'll just
Sort of
take
silicon spikes.
that on a-
Well,
not
glass
that one, but
spikes,
the
but with a
3/4.
piece of silicon that you can then move and push in.
What are the other ones? What are those? Yeah. It's like 2 gathers on that. 2 big gathers. 2 gathers, you know. And then. Cool.
Do you put a strip on this, John?
Yes. Eventually. Would you be able to get a. Yes, please, if that's possible. Yes, please. Once we get these legs on, Katie, there's a bar. There's a thing. Yeah, the chunk of there's a thing with white on it, and I'll just take 2 bits off of that if you don't mind. Yeah, it's a very fancy glassblowing shirt. You're like, I wasn't planning to blow glassblowing. Do you have something good, better than the anchor?
So we're going to put another layer of clear glass on top of this, another strip gather, sort of pouring away a lot of the clear glass
You say cold?
till he's got the amount
So it
of
was much
material he
like-
needs to work. Again, just letting it cool off before it gathers, so you've got that nice stable core on which to gather more glass.
I did a time change in my head. I was like, yeah. Yeah. No, it was good because otherwise I think the torch was a little bit. Yeah.
So talking about working the glass in different ways, you work back there.
Get cold.
Back there is a technique.
So you spent some money? Yeah.
Now fusing it together so you get very delicate kind of piece. And very good.
Yeah, very nice. It's nice to feel like really
Furnace is off. Is the furnace off? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Shutting down. Yeah, quietly. Oh, man. Yeah.
So John's just pulling that final bit of clear glass off the end of the piece. And he'll cut that away because he doesn't want a clear halo there.
We'll give it a second to hang down. Right. Nope. Like my studio is set up for that. Like I do the strips. Yeah.
So John, the end of this piece, is that the end of the bear or the top of the bear?
What? Yeah. What do you mean?
The orientation. So
I will punty this, so that'll be the butt of the bear. Yeah. So right now we'll make the body, put the legs on it, punty it, then we'll put the arms and the head on. Yes. Is that what you mean?
yes.
Okay. Also did not understand.
There was a question for both you and Elliot of who was your favorite other competitor on the series?
From our own season or from?
Yeah. Or either or.
Oh, Elliot is definitely my favorite.
There you go.
He's got a flash of peace for me.
So who was your favorite in your series?
I mean, I really got along with, like John and Minnie. I got along really well. I can't say a favorite. Like
Is there someone's work that you knew before that you really liked?
Dan
or-
Friday I was a big fan of Dan Friday. I really liked everything that Grace made on the show. I think they made awesome stuff. So it was hard to, going into it, I was sure that like Rob and Claire were gonna like dominate, and then they went home first, which is surprising, but I've known them and I know their careers and everything, so that was intimidating. But it's hard to say. I mean, it's like, you don't-
It was quite a mixture of like big names and people with experience.
yeah. And you don't really get to see what other people are doing, so it's not like you're there like, wow, that's really cool. You're making this thing, slapping it together with glue, putting it on display, and hoping it doesn't fall apart. without actually getting to look at it, and then you don't see really other people's stuff. What about you? Who's your favorite?
Yeah.
How to do a jigsaw?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Actually, a jigsaw.
To use a jigsaw?
Open the door on the far side if you
Like a kid's jigsaw, like a toy jigsaw.
You'd never made a jigsaw before,
I've never
Elliot?
made a jigsaw, no.
Oh. I'll get you on for Christmas. So that score line that John's putting in there, and that means that the piece will be able to be broken off from the iron. Otherwise, when it's finished, you might damage it when you're trying to remove it from the iron.
Just shape this up really a little bit, but then I'll.
Wooden. Yep.
Just shape this up a little bit. I'll probably have start with those like this.
Want me to start one?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, can you grab one of those? Thank you. Things I didn't think about. Tap for me, Katie?
There's a wooden board down there. So are you starting to make one of the legs?
Yes. I think we're going to do both from the same bit.
Might have you, if you don't mind flashing in a minute, I'm going to start texturing it. Might have you just flash for that. So, but I'm going to roll on the white first on the belly, so I have a belly spot.
You've done a series with teddy bears as well, haven't you?
I
Or
did.
singular.
I made 3 bears, uranium bears. That
They
was
were
it.
solid, weren't they?
They were solid, yeah.
What was the concept behind those?
They were part of a larger series about nuclear waste. You know,
Hence the uranium bear.
The uranium bear, yeah. Enough. John,
Yeah.
say enough.
Yeah, for the first, yeah, that should be good.
Okay.
Yeah, so just so it's like stable, so I can really.
There's a question online, John, asking about the symbolism behind Mickey Mouse. I guess they mean the Mickey Mori, which is what we've got on our t-shirts. This is one of John's designs.
Give me a second. Yeah, we're just chill out and then I'll start touching it. Yeah, the Mickey Mori is basically like talking, like the whole thing came from like the death of the copyright. So like the artists, like when Walt Disney designed Mickey Mouse, the copyright law was that he would own it after his death for 20 years or something. But then Disney Corporation stepped in, or Disney Company, and extended that copyright so the corporation owned it, which kind of took the rights of an individual and gave it to a corporation. And they extended that rule over the years, but then also kind of set story to like some of our political structure in the US that like a corporation has similar rights as an individual for like donations and campaigns, and for rights as like a inheritance or whatever, not inheritance is the right word, but yeah, so that they have the similar rights. So this whole piece comes from that, like that copyright not dying.
Gives a corporation the same power as an individual.
Yes, yeah, and that's what this piece is about, to make you more remember that this thing will die. But it's a kind of playful image based on it, but it's something that is used as a symbol for things a lot of times.
Have you been contacted by Disney? Have you had any sort of legal...
No, not yet. I mean, it's not, nothing that I use here is copyrighted, so it's like, flash please. It's not like I didn't take a Mickey Mouse image. I took a concept, but
Yeah.
so does Disney. That's what they do. Turn a little bit.
So just continuing with that wire brush to get the texture all across the surface, to give that fur feeling. Yeah, that brush has taken a hammering.
Yeah. Did it last flip all the way over? I'm gonna take it there.
Like titanium wire.
Flash freeze. We see it's starting to gunk up. Once it starts to go, it goes.
I guess you want it to stick though, don't you? And
Yeah,
sort of
that's
pull
what gives
apart.
it that like pulled apart look. Turn that way a little bit. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, flash please.
Go and do. Spanner.
Boom.
Okay.
Let's give this a pretty good like.
So if you think that that's the torso,
Okay, flash
and
please.
Elliot's got one leg of 4 and no head, it's going to end up to be quite a substantial piece in the end. Do you sometimes get caught out when you're doing multi-component pieces in terms of the size and
Well, I'm pretty good
The
at
weight.
knowing that I should start, like when I start on a bigger pipe or punting, it seems small when you just go there, but I know it's gonna grow. But I've made mistakes. That like I've made something on too small of a punty and then you just start assembling, you realize it's giant. So it always feels ridiculous to start on a big pipe or a bigger punty, but you know it's gonna get heavy, so. But yeah, when I was in Corning, I made a piece that got really, really big. And I made a mistake in scale, which I very rarely do in that now, I think.
there's a question about asking about future work and what you might have made on the series that you then have got ideas to continue with. Obviously, this is a continuation of your final piece.
I think there's some stuff that I had like a lot of that work I try to hold true to myself, like what I would do anyway. So there's stuff that's been inspired later. Like I've been doing some stuff with skulls that touch on that piece, like what that I made with the planet and the skull. But most of it's like a one-off. Like I don't really repeat a lot of things. Like I'll make a series of something, but a lot of the concepts are there. There's similar concepts linked into it, but nothing specific at the moment. Turn, please. But the concept for my final installation is something that I've been working on, like that, the kind of perception and reality and dealing with like
Is it about abandonment? Or-
a little bit, but it's also about like breaking like misconceptions. So like that white gallery space that was supposed to fill,
Yeah.
and then using the floor as just the element to like showcase that little flash please, thing of life. So instead of it being full of space, it was like full of emptiness, and then there was just this little thing of life. Like that kind of concept I've been using over and over again, that there's these like elements of something growing out of nothingness, but it's about like perception, about like our reality that we live in, but also the way that people see who we, like, as we see ourselves, but as other people see us. A lot of it came from like COVID when we just were locked in rooms by ourselves, thinking about everybody's life at that moment.
But again, that was very brave with your final piece. I mean, you've got this large space, and you choose to just have a small part of it filled,
Yeah.
which I think gave it a lot more presence and power. But again, it's an element of bravery, I think, with your work.
Yeah, it was. I had to. They didn't want me
Were
to
you
do
scared
that.
with that? Was that?
I knew it was what I had to do, but it was not a popular idea amongst.
I mean, there was pressure from the.
Like the production team was afraid it was going to look like nothing on TV, and they were like, "We don't want you to go home because you made something nobody sees, or like lose because of that."
Yeah.
From this dividing, or
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be. Maybe just heat-wise, I can take it.
just heat-wise?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
like-
made up of a lot of different components, isn't it? I mean, you've got the sort of the grass and
Yeah, I think.
the landscape. That must have been made up of
Yeah, I
lots and
think-
lots of different parts.
When I explained it to the team of the corny people, I didn't have, like, I knew what I wanted and I could see it, but they couldn't right away, so I was trying to explain it, and they were like, okay. But they didn't see how it was going to come together until it started to come together, and I remember Eric really saying, like, I was a little nervous seeing how you're going to do this, and then seeing the pieces come together, how it pulled into space, that it made sense, but he didn't see it until it was there, or until we had made the parts. Because we made a bunch of rondelles and broke them, like, and we were trying to break them, like, screw them. I was like, no, just throw it on the ground. And it was like smashed the days of work. So,
Ready for this time?
yeah, you can heat that up. I'll take this time.
Yeah.
So the next part will be to attach the first leg. So that's the glass that Elliot's been shaping and forming, and that'll be going on the bottom of the piece to create one of the legs of the bear.
There is like a misconception about the final project or the final thing. That they say you have to build the space, but they say we're supposed to use the space, and that was my whole thing. Like, you don't have to fill it, you have to use it.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Just don't kill myself over that.
The presence of absence.
Yeah, because I think that white space is kind of like, I mean, we're down the street from White Cube. Like, how does that change the perception of what's in it? Like,
I mean, I like the floor there more than a lot of the work I see. So.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
There was a question about watching the show back. Have you watched your own show back? Can you watch yourself on TV?
I watched it. Actually, Elliot came down for, and Beth both came down for we did like a premiere with a bunch of people. I watched it then.
And how did you
Please.
how did you find then seeing the judges talk about your work? Did you agree with what they were saying, or?
They were mic'd up the whole time, and I would say most of the criticisms were like my own criticisms thrown back in my face when I would be like, this thing sucks, I hate this. I would hear it back, I was like, all right. But I didn't realize it till seeing the show that so much of the criticism was actually really my own criticism of myself. So I agreed with them. Oh, sorry.
You did that bit early, didn't you? Oh, no, okay, well, what's fine? You've done quite a lot today, haven't you? I've been swanning around. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, you have that. I need to break a sweat. Yeah.
Which challenge did you find the hardest? Or task?
Like there was different things of hardness, I think. Like the cocktail glass I found challenging because it's not something I do, like is design glassware.
Do you have to make multiple?
We had to make 6 cocktail glasses. And
Identical?
yeah, I mean,
That's tricky.
identical-ish. No, I struggled with the blow hose, so I was trying to blow a bubble, and I didn't. So I pulled this, supposed to be a straw. About half of it was hollow, and the other half was solid. So I was sure that thing I was going home with. It was just terrible. Like, the pieces were okay, but I think conceptually I liked it a lot, but I didn't think my execution was so good. And then this skull piece with the planet, like, I really liked the concept, but I wasn't really happy with the execution. So I think those ones were really challenging as far as, like, the making.
You were wanting it to be seen through the eyes. Was that right? Or
Yeah, and
That's a very that was a very tricky piece to
do hot, like, if I had time to, like, cool it down, polish out the eyes, fire polish it, but in that moment. And that was a piece that was way bigger than it was supposed to be. And it doesn't look that big, but it was heavy we were 4 hours on the pipe of that, and it was 6 gathers. I mean, it was big.
That's a big piece of glass.
And I was sure that was going to explode in the oven too, because we didn't have control over the annealing.
Wow.
But they were really, it might have exploded later. No, it's in Corning, it didn't explode yet, so. But that one I just struggled with because I was having issues with the temperatures, like trying to get my temps right. Because with that kind of massive glass, you have to work a really specific heat range. And I was getting it too hot sometimes, and then I just struggled with it. And I made skulls before, so I wanted it to be a really good skull, and it was a mediocre skull. That's what it is. For me.
That's the hard thing of doing sort of descriptive and sculptural work, is people then have a preconceived idea of what something is.
Yeah, and I'm my own.
That's why I make abstract work.
It's good, Elliot. I'm just my own worst critic anyway, so they really like somebody, I think the host Nick said something, it's a really terrible skull, it's not that good of a skull. Those were my exact words. When they asked me what I thought of the piece, I was like, nah, I like the concept, but it's not really that good of a skull. And I heard that he said it on the thing, I was like, God damn it. Yeah, every single criticism was my own. So I agreed with all of it. Yeah. Whenever you're ready, Katie, I'm good. Yeah, and I could probably, if it's hot enough, I'll take all of them. I'll take the 2 feet and the tail, fluffy tail.
So Katie's got a piece of solid white glass. This will be used to make the feet.
Yeah, little pads on the feet and the tail. Ow. Are you ready? All right, I can take it. We can get a quick. Nope. Ow. Can you heat down all the way up? We'll do one more heat with that. Maybe, yeah. Should be good, Elliot. Just, yeah. I'm still trying to work it out with not overheating it. But I think the hole's cooled down quite a bit, so. Yeah. But if you see that, like, I'm working too cold, don't worry about flashing it. Ow.
Your sleeve.
What was that?
Your sleeve.
No.
I don't know what happened there.
See that piece of the glass? Flash, please. Oh yeah, I can take it now. something shot up, landed on my arm, and then just burned. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Yep. That's fine. Perfect. Thank you. Flash that, please. Do you have a tungsten rod?
Drill.
Yeah.
In as well, just to give it a bit
Louis.
more.
Should be good. So you get the last little bit of texture in this, and we are close to punting.
What are you doing for the punty, sorry?
I said I'm gonna texture the rest of this, and then I'll be close to punting.
What is it?
We'll do a blow. Oh wait. We should put another pipe up. I do a blow punty maybe.
What do you want? A big punchy?
Do we have a big pipe like this?
Yeah.
I forgot that it was blown. I'm gonna step out and finish it from outside. Yeah, like a matching pipe will be fine. It's not crazy heavy, but
Louis, are these tungsten drill bits down here?
flip.
If they were to do a sort of champion of champion or the ultimate blown away, would you guys go back? Would you go back?
Yeah, I'd take a gun, man.
What'd you say?
Saying would you guys go back on blown away?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I don't think I would, actually.
No?
No.
As long as it's like not a Christmas episode.
We were talking about it last night, about how they need to like outdo themselves every year, but like possibly in the cruelty to the contestants. So I think by the time they do a champ of champs, but by the time they got enough people, yeah, it'll be pretty brutal, I think, really.
It'd be $1 million prize.
Yeah.
I think they should be made to work with first year students. Or,
Yeah. Beth thought couples would be a good one.
Flash, please.
is that because you'd be entered?
That is probably because we'd be entered.
Can you give a little
The world
extra
would-
heat?
Huh?
Just a little longer heat?
Yeah.
But, yeah, sorry, man. They should make us work together on each other's pieces,
Yeah,
because then you could
yeah.
sabotage each other, or like stroke each other's egos and make like really work together, like
Yeah. No, the
Not
team
as a
episodes
team,
were
but
good.
like you're-
I like that.
that you have to help each other.
Would James and Katie be a couple?
Yeah. No.
Sort of. A pair.
Yeah. Okay. Flip. There was a flip. Okay. Just gonna give the moil a little torch, let the bottom cool down, and I will tungsten it.
drill.
Ah, shit, actually, I need to put a clear bit on that. Would you grab a furnace bit in a second? We'll flash after the bit, so I'm just gonna jump in real quick. Just like a straight over. Before we flash now.
That's all right.
See where you actually had to listen to the person and work together? Like, that would be a really interesting competition, right?
Oh yeah, you shouldn't be able to speak the same language.
No, just ignore what you said.
Yeah, just straight out of the furnace. I've done that before. That would be.
It's great how they take people from around the world though, that it's not all just
You mean
from the
like
same
America,
country.
Canada, and UK?
Well, you had an Australian, didn't you? And,
Oh yeah, that was
Sort of.
yeah, from the front. Flip,
I think
pull away.
I think you can definitely have a European credit, John.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I build myself as European. Flash, please. I know there was some international applications, so I don't know.
Maybe not on this bit, but
Curious. What?
So John's got a special drill bit there, piece of tungsten. So he's drilling a hole in the bottom of the bear before he attaches the next blowpipe, so that it's not completely sealed up. It just helps when you're annealing
the chicken wire.
to have that opening. If it's completely sealed, you'd have to treat it as a solid piece. But as it's a vessel with a hollow opening,
Do you want to
it then
make like
makes
a
it a lot.
cold pour
It
blowpipe?
protects it when you're annealing it, so when you're cooling it down. Hey, Peter.
You know what I mean, right? Like a double dip, cold pour.
I do a double dip, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Are you cutting? Are you leaving a bit on there, or
Yeah.
you want to leave a crown on there,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that? Yeah.
But the first one, like, put the bubble, but let it chill out, so we have like a real stable second gather. Yeah.
It's a collar, isn't it? It's a blown collar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just with the first one being cold.
Yeah.
It's not cold.
Like, yeah, maybe.
Open, please. He's gonna need to bend it and make it hard over here. Please.
Anyway.
Do you need a bench?
No. Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. No problem. Feel better. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I hope to be over this way again, and I'll stop in and say hi. You know. So, I came to Eurostar. It's definitely the most straightforward. There's like a bus, but it's like 12 hours. Yeah. No. No, I had to go to Brussels. Yeah, that's the hardest part is getting from Ghent to Brussels, which is not that far. You think it'd be easy, but Belgium is a mess.
Yeah.
So Elliot's got a punty iron. Once the temperatures
Yeah,
are right,
let it chill down.
Let it
so
chill
you'll be able to attach that iron to the bottom of the bear, and the neckline up this end is like a stress point. So you'll be able to break the bear off this iron and onto Elliot's iron. And this way you can work on the top and attach the head and then the arms. Most sort of pieces you make, especially vessels, will be puntied in this way. So they're turned around so you can work on both the top and the bottom.
You got the bench if you need it too.
So Elliot's blowing through the punty because it's on a blowing iron. Means when you attach it, you still have got the ability to blow back into the piece.
You're fine. Just trying to make sure he has space to get in and out of the bench.
Oh, good deal. Got a tag.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a particularly large punty iron. It just means with something heavy like this, that's solid, you've got a lot more stability. If it was too small, there'd be a danger of it breaking off, and it would just be harder to control.
Yeah.
So the larger amount of glass just gives you a little bit more stability and control.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Like, it doesn't seem like it's unnecessary for this,
Yeah.
but when we stick all the parts on, it gets like it doubles in size and weight, basically. You're fine.
Sound about right?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep. If you are, I am. Okay.
So now the temperature's right, you can attach
Push
that
that on.
punchy iron to the bottom of the bear.
Pull away.
A bit big.
That's fine. It's connected good, so. Pull away again. Yeah.
You've got a hose right between your feet, mate.
I know.
Feeling good or
A little bit
a
longer.
little gooey? Or?
It's gonna be a mover.
It's going to be a little bit of a move.
Don't worry about flashing the punchy, just
Yeah, just have the front up. Okay.
So now the temperatures are right. John can put some water on that stress line. He's going to strike the iron. And the piece will come off his and onto Elliot's.
go peek real quick. Be right back.
That, when you're a student, is where the piece very often will just fall on the floor. You've got to have the temperatures just right to get that
Yeah,
to
go
work.
on.
Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right in the arse.
Yeah.
Oh my god, do you know when we went to check and everything was like
But
so
not the
hot,
head.
it's like spoiled. It was like,
Not yet.
it's not like this where I come from. It's cold where I live, you know. It's like, god.
After I got the
I can't cope with it anymore. I was just like, billing.
because I'll be blending these in while that's heating up. So it's probably good, Elliot. Yeah.
Going in or out?
Oh, outside. Sorry.
Ow.
Nice and neat.
Which turn or?
No, stay right there. Flip. Flip again. Flip.
So do you guys only work together on demonstrations?
Well, John helped me out in France when I was doing a demo as part of a residency, so it's nice to be able to return the favour.
Yeah, nobody knew I was on the show at that point.
Yeah,
And
Except
obviously the
Elliot.
demo
except for
together.
me.
Did the demo together at your studio
flash
for the
that?
Biennale?
Yeah. We started a collaboration. We still have to finish.
I'll just have one, yeah, for the
Come in
next
and
one.
out? Or
Just the half's fine.
Should probably be good.
So I can get in. I've got his long leg down and then
Flip. Okay. Just gonna texture that. So
a bit more.
flip.
So it's obviously still, it's quite neat and polished where that's broken off. So John's just applying more of that texture so you get that fur overall.
Turn a little bit that way. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice
There's
and
some
neat. I can't
sculpting
have
in
that.
this way. You would use the opening of the bubble to put tools inside, and then you can sculpt from
Turn a
within,
little more.
create a form outside, pushing through the bubble.
Turn that way. Flash, please. I think there's just a spot like on the back I'm trying to get.
Yeah.
But I think the rest is good.
I love how it rips through that top colour.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
what
like, why am I putting brown on it? It's like,
So you rip it
oh,
off.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
The brush has to get good and sticky though for that to
Yeah.
happen right.
Elliot, John was discussing this morning about the influence of people like Pino Signoretto in terms of him sculpting glass in this way.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular maker that influenced you to sort of be
A bit more.
in a more sculptive, figurative work?
Um,
Or maybe not a
Glass,
glass
please.
maker?
well, I think the Italian sort of sensibility is a massive influence on everyone, but particularly with sculpture, because they tend to get to the point with a piece where it says what it is without being like a carbon copy or like perfect detail or anything like that. It's like using the material and the qualities of the material to suggest a form. And there's a particular maker, Alfredo Barbini. I mean, he was part of a big glass house in Italy anyway, part of an old family. But he did some beautiful,
torch
sort
that
of
spot when he
gentle,
comes out,
figurative
we'll do
work, which was
One more flash, one more torch, and I'll
incredibly
stick the arm out.
accurate in its form, but very sort of loose and
I'll do the arm, but I just
undefined.
need a torch. Need a torch. Yes. On that glove. White. Oh, yeah. Will you torch this time? And I'll. Oh yeah.
What are you?
Sorry.
Have you turned that? That's up,
That's
is
up.
it?
Yeah. I'm just looking for the.
Right.
Like that.
Go for an arm.
Back is sweaty. Okay.
That's both when it comes to the arm being on. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's going to be at.
Okay. Flash, Elliot.
Right. Just the one for now, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So we're getting up to the
I'll
point
come
now
this
where
way.
we're going to attach
Yes,
the
that's
first
fine.
arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've had to make
I'll
sure
come
that
all
the
the way
heat's
around
right
it.
in this kiln
For
so
sure.
that it
For
doesn't
sure.
crack when it comes out.
So you'll come all the way to the outside of the bench with this way up.
That way up,
Yep.
as in like that.
No. The way
Like
you
that.
just had it.
Okay.
Yeah. Open. Okay. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, flash, please.
Nicely done.
It's the right arm. Good. The correct arm. Okay, just maybe like flip. Flip. Take a flash, please. We'll just even that arm in a little bit. So I'm basically gonna like smelt that all in texture.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Flip. Flip.
So rather than that arm looking separate from the piece,
That way. Turn that
John
way.
starts to manipulate the texture where it's
please.
joined and then gives it a sense of being one whole piece of glass.
Nah, I think it's all right. Oh yeah.
Say stuff just totally.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this
Gives
is
me the
string.
perfect look. That way a little bit. Yeah, right there. A little bit more if you can. Yeah. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay. Flash, please. Turn. Stop right there. Flip. Flip.
John, have you always sort of worked with creating components rather than sculpting from one whole piece, or?
Depends on what I'm making, Flip. If it has appendages, yes. Flash, please. If it's like a head or a skull or something, I'll work with one solid object. But like whenever it has arms or legs, like I'll typically add. I mean, I've learned to do like the torso and stuff like that, but it doesn't work for me. I prefer to be able to really focus on each part. I'm gonna pull that arm again. So. Flip. Flip. Okay, flash. So I'm going to start up that other arm in a second. This is all doing all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do the first heat, then I'll hand it off to you. Yeah, that was perfect, yeah. Flip. Flip. Actually, wait. Flip, I'm going to do one other thing. Flash on me real quick. Can I have that tungsten again?
Have a shot in now? Yeah, thanks. Let's build a bit more up at the back.
So you can see their patience with working something like this. Very diligent, lots of quick, short heats.
Flip.
It's just not something you're able to rush. Thank you all for your patience. It's a particularly long demo.
Flip. Take that for me. Where are
It's
you,
the
little
thing with this
tweezer?
sort of work, there's the experience of
Flip.
making it, but then there's the experience of being able to work for sustained periods of time. The thing with glass making, once you've started, you're bound to finish. It's not something you can sort of put away and come back to. So, like a KT studio with James, they'll sometimes do day-long pieces.
Flash,
But have
please.
real endurance for working that kind of way with glass. You like those days, don't you, Katie?
Just gonna cut that open a little bit more and then,
Yeah.
You doing all right?
It's hot.
Yeah, I know. It's a good thing that silk breathes, huh?
Yeah.
But, hey, look at you two really overdressed for this.
There's such thing as
Okay, flash please.
Yeah.
Let's figure out where through that brush. All right.
So this is it's a hollow vessel. So John's
Should be
trying
good,
to
yeah.
just open up the cavity in the chest. Part of his work has
Flip.
a gruesome element, maybe I'd say, of having sort of the idea of these internal organs coming out of the bears. So you can see on the left, that bear's had his heart pulled out from him.
Okay, flash please.
So there,
Stepping right
John
on.
has pre-made an organ in the kiln. Should I tell them what you made, John?
Yeah, you can tell him an organ sounds nefarious.
Yeah.
Flip. Flip.
So yeah, there's a heart inside of the kiln there that John's going to attach later. Is it to look like he's pulled his own heart out, or this has happened to the bear?
I think that's kind of the question.
So you want some ambiguity there?
Yeah. All right, flash please.
He's had a bad day though.
It's not a bad day, that's for sure. All right, now we'll start torching for the arm.
I'll probably get out of there. Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Sweaty. Flip. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. I saw it when I was in. All right, flash, Elliot. Katie, I'll have you take this. I'll reach in and just torch my tool, just so you know, like.
So now we're going to attach that second arm.
Heat the glove a little bit.
Slap his bum. So do you want this the other way around? This way
Yeah,
up?
that way, yeah.
This way up.
Yes, yeah. Okay, try flash. Wait. Now the same thing was perfect, yeah.
Flip in.
Open that. That one, right? Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah. Okay, flash please.
Nice.
Hot. Yes. Flip. Just gonna flip. Okay, flash please. Get rid of that. Yeah.
So as well as
Sorry.
the couple of bears that you can see there in the middle that John's brought over from Belgium,
Flip.
he's brought over a few other pieces as well, and they've been put into our silent auction. So that's still running for this week. There's a few pieces in the gallery if you want to see.
Flip.
And if you would like to make a sealed bid on the silent auction, if you ask someone in the gallery, they'll be able to give you a slip of paper to fill in. But
Flash.
the teacup, John, is it like a Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, but it's also like a take on gun violence. So it's like a dead coffee cup or teacup. So like it was about like all the school shootings. So when I made that piece, it was like the cute kid from that story, but then putting again a twist on it. So arm up, like
So
right
Chip,
there.
the cup got caught in a
Yeah.
crossfire.
In some kind of crossfire. Flip, please. So that's
Seem
why
to
it's
have quite a
spilt.
few unfortunate endings, your sculptures.
Flip. Well, it's about what's happening like now in a lot of the world. So yeah, I think it's hopefully raising some kind of. It's for me, it's like cathartic to do that. So it helps me kind of deal with what's happening, and I think that's part of the thing to have a conversation or a conversation point.
Do you get any kickback or even threats
Flip.
for some of the political aspects of your work? 'Cause you're
Yeah.
obviously taking on things like the gun problem in America.
There's been people that have been, like I've had arguments with people, but a lot of people do, like it does open discussion. Like there's always going to be somebody who is upset about it, but they're just internet trolls, so. I did have a death threat in Poland though, that was intense, about a religious piece. Come on back. But it was empty, it was an empty death threat, so it was okay. Yeah.
One of those. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still here, so I guess it was an empty threat. Flip.
It's Salman Rushdie.
Yeah, like that. That's crazy. His is a little bit worse than mine.
Yeah, it took a while to come to fruition though. So.
Oh my god. Flash, please. For writing a book, you know, like I made a sculpture with a Ronald McDonald. It's about where the Pieta. But they were like, "You're making fun of the Virgin Mary." No, I'm not making fun of Ronald McDonald.
The fact that you used the classical religious pose.
Catholic specifically was the big thing.
I guess to some people, Ronald McDonald would be a deity.
Yeah, it can also be a little religious in a way. So, okay, I'll have you torch this spot here in a second. Okay, flash, Elliot. A heart. I'm grabbing the heart from there. Yeah. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna do something first. Okay, short flash, Elliot.
So this is some cane or stringers that John made earlier, a solid bit of colour. He's able just to heat that up and almost draw with it. So it's going to be the effect of almost like spots of blood on the chest of the bear.
Flip. Flip. Flip.
Oops, sorry.
That's all right. It's gonna go one in the hand anyway, so.
I'm guessing Netflix has like a PG
Flash, please.
rating.
Something like
blown
that.
away.
Yeah.
Are some of these pushing the...
I mean, I made pieces about stuff I was serious with. They just didn't show everything. Let's say it like that. Like the little bird that I made when Elliot was the guest actually was like about suicide, and they didn't show that at all in the. Come on back. Like about like artists who commit suicide specifically. Flip.
So did they have to approve of everything that you were making?
Sort of, but they did give us a lot of freedom. But they just edited it if they didn't want to show what it was. Flip. Jesus Christ, you see that shape? Okay, flash please. Alright, now I can stick it.
So the glass colours always appear very different when they're hot to when they're cold. So you're not going to quite see that true effect until it's cold. So you're going to have a sort of redness.
Alright, Elliot. Flip. A little bit more, right there. Okay, flash, that's what we're towards, Katie, right there. Okay. You give that a torch. Bloody sweat.
It's the closest thing you're getting to being able to draw with the glass. Which gives a really nice detail.
Okay, flipping.
You keep it close. So we'll stick it this time.
You want it
like
there?
this, yeah. Okay, flash and then we'll stick it. Then I'm gonna like fold the arm around it, basically. So
Hold steady.
yeah, but I might do a heat in between. So
Okay.
yes. Woo. All right. Or I'll do it right now.
Nice.
Flash, please. Got like one little adjustment to make on that.
Yeah.
And then we'll stick the head on. And I'm too late, but flip. Flip. Turn slowly. Flash, please. Okay, do you want to torch that neckline again?
It's the final
You'll just do it
component
with, like,
now,
the legs
which is
and
the
arms,
head.
like, face up when I
Everything
stick the
else
head
is
on.
in place.
And I'll probably shimmy it around a little bit and we'll flash. I might shimmy it around twice, but we'll probably like make sure it's nice and hot so I can.
Juicy.
Pretty juicy. Like not that it's gonna be crazy to try to turn on, but I can get it in there and yeah. Okay, let's take a flash on that. I'm gonna see how it looks when it comes out. We're definitely gonna torch it, but I'll see if we flash one more time. Yeah, we'll do one torch, one flash, and then I'll pretty much be right here to stick. So yeah, when you come out this time, do what you just did. You give it an extra second, and then I'll jam the head on.
Extra second on the torch.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yep. All right. Flip. Flip. Flash, please. Ooh. Gloves are very hot. Just give like when you're flashing and coming out, just like an extra second on that head, and then.
Did that suddenly feel a lot heavier, Elliot?
Yeah, it's changed a bit. Yeah.
It's a full bear.
Okay, flip. 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 Let's take a flash. Set, again, mostly for the head, so
Yeah.
that extra little love for the last second. I just gotta blend that basically, and then we're
Yeah, blend it around. Yeah.
So it's doesn't look like it like bent and cracked. Flip. 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 Splash that, please. See, it doesn't really last. It was new when I brought it. No, it'll make through. But like, I never had it bend before. That's new. Should be good. Yeah, probably. Flip. Flip. Oh, wrong side.
Wrong side. It's hard to tell now.
Yeah. Ugh. I got sweat in my eyes. Flip. Flip again. Towards me. Right there. Yeah. Trying to get in there. Flip. Turn that way a little bit. Flash. Should be good, Elliot.
Trying to gauge the angle of the eyes and then the connection of the neck to get that.
That he's looking up and that like. So this is kind of a straight line, flash please. So like it creates the like the triangle, the Trinity triangle.
It's come together very nice.
Thank you. You know, talking about the golden triangle, the ratio. Yeah. All right. Flash, please. Feet. That's the word I was looking for. That's good, Elliot. Just gonna take a look if there's any parts that need a little texturing, but I think we're done. Just turn. Maybe right there, stop for a second. Flip. No, it all looks good. Turn. So we'll just flash this down now. Take some videos, obviously. Flash, please. Do you want to take a video? Done.
So obviously the final installation piece with the cuddly toy in Blown Away,
Yeah.
you create an environment.
Uh-huh.
It's not just the toy itself. That's something you're sort of looking at doing more of, that sort of installation basis of creating a bit more context.
I think so. That's something I would like to play with these guys, like, that they have like a, yeah, I don't know yet how I'm going to resolve that, but that like landscape of that installation has made it into other pieces.
Okay.
So these bears have been in other works as like stuffed animals that I like made as actual fabric ones, or as the glass ones. So they kind of become like a reoccurring theme.
Will the bear have a name?
Not yet.
Peter?
No, he'd be looking you in the eye. Where's this going? Oh, right, yeah.
I think we're just flashing it down now, so I think we're
Yeah.
done. So
We're going to put the piece in the kiln over there. So if I could ask you,
little bit.
everyone here on this,
we'll just come to it once. And
if I could ask you guys to move over, that would be great. Okay, we'll move the chairs.
it's gonna be good.
Who's putting it in?
So that's the finished piece now. They're just equalizing the temperatures. You want to make sure you've got an even temperature before putting the piece away. If you had different parts that were maybe cooler than the rest, it could crack.
Yeah, it's got a bit.
So just sort of flashing it down, getting that equal temperature throughout
It's
the
not
piece,
suited up, yeah.
and then it'll be put away in the kiln pretty shortly.
Oh, right, okay.
No, I don't want to just cut the pumpkin a little bit.
Oh, right, okay.
We're not ready to.
Okay, oh, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're suiting up, or whoever's suiting up, can try to suit up pretty soon here. Maybe we'll do a little turn.
So yeah, just the final part now. Just like to thank Anthony Scala and his dad Dante, who've been doing the stream today and filming. Done a wonderful job, so thank you very much.
You want to take it for that? Yeah.
I'll take it to the bench. I'll take it away from the heat. Alright, you guys can get a little bit of an idea of the expression and everything in the piece.
You can take it back now.
Yeah. Open, please.
Are you going to take it off at the bench, or?
Think so?
We can take it off over there, yeah.
Oh, okay. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, just clamp it with the jacks or something.
Just a short flash. Well, I definitely want to get water on it. So,
Yeah.
is there
Okay,
water
we'll
over
do it
there,
here.
Katie?
No, I think it's just here.
I'm gonna do it with water just because of that. I just
Okay.
heated that, but that's good. Elliot. Want that?
It's Tim. Tim. I'll come underneath here.
Yeah. Is that okay? Flip. Okay. Grab it. Lift. Pull.
Yes.
I just didn't want to break out the bottom from that.
Yeah.
Where we went. Should've been fine.
Nice work. Nice.
Thank you guys for the help. It was huge.
Hi. Oh yeah, I've got them.
So did we do the Q&A already? Because I feel like we did the Q&A